to happen, right?
You gotta take L's sometimes, man.
Man, yeah, you gotta take it on the chin.
Especially when you recruited that position as well as you could.
But like the other thing is I don't feel like it's taking it on the chin. I'm like, where were you going to put him with all this talent?
That's sort of what I'm getting at. Is like you have DJ Jeffries, you have Precious Achiuwa.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this guy, I'm not saying he wouldn't start over those guys. I don't know. We haven't seen any of this.
Yes, we haven't seen any of it.
But he plays the same position. He wants to get playing time. He's going where he's going to get playing time.
In the sweat equity was put in by the Tiger staff. He had the opportunity to commit to the Tigers. Unfortunately,
and timing's everything with these.
That's
things,
exactly what I was getting ready to say. If he really wanted to, and I think honestly he wanted to be a Tiger, and if he had to do it over, he would have signed with them. I don't think he knew it was going to be James Wiseman, DJ Jeffries, Ball, and Boogie, and everybody in their coming.
And people don't realize in football and basketball recruiting, it's the same in that if they over recruit a position and they get the amount of commits they want for that year, they'll rescind the offer. I'm not saying they did that to Trendon Watford, but it certainly would point that direction. You know what I mean? It's not like they didn't have that position sniffed out and recruited already. So you can't fault Trendon for that, and you can't fault the coaching staff. It's just how it works sometimes in recruiting.
And I totally agree. And I also found this very funny, and I wanted to put this in because everybody knows we're about to go to Hardinwood because it feels so good, but you can't go to Hardinwood without great people. Frontier Western Store. That's right. Frontier Western Store, 5880 Goodman Road. You want to be styling and profiling? Go to frontierwesternstore.com or head on down there. You'll look so good. Trust me. And remember this is very important. Everybody knows that they have the largest boot showroom on the planet, but people don't realize that it has a kids department, a ladies boutique, Wranglers, Ariat jeans, Miss Me, whatever you can think of, they got it at Frontier Western Store, and they can ship it to you if you go online at frontierwesternstore.com. Let's do Hardinwood.
This is Access Hardinwood.
Man, there's so many things I want to talk about in Hardinwood because there's just so many things that are going on for Memphis and good things that are going on for Memphis. You know, basketball is getting crazy. They got the number 2 pick for the, Hoop City and the Grizzlies. People are losing their minds. You know, we're talking about Ja Morant. But all that stuff is going on, and it's very, very cool stuff. But, you know, Hardwood is a little bit about different stories and the weird stories that are going on in the world. And Gabe told me one a little bit earlier. Do you remember which one I'm talking about, Gabe?
No.
Oh, interesting.
Wait, I told you about it, though.
Yeah. We were talking about it earlier. I said, save that one for Hardwood. Don't worry about it. We'll get to it. I'll bring it up.
Okay.
That was interesting. O.J. Simpson, by the way.
That's the one.
I thought that might help you out.
Yeah.
So what did you think about the fact that Bills are going to allow a player to wear his famous number 32? One,
I didn't think this was a thing. You know what I mean? I didn't know.
I don't know if I want to wear the
32.
Bills juice. No, they retired it back in 77.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Even after everything?
Yeah. Well, it hadn't been
unretired.
Yeah.
I don't know if you unretire numbers anyway.
Interesting, but it does feel like they've kind of done that. They've said now that they have put number 32 back out, but they did say they did it last year and nobody picked it up. Now, reissuing the number 32 jersey is also a shot, I think, at Simpson from the Bills, considering he was Bills royalty. But I do have to say, they only have, 3 jerseys in franchise history that are retired. Jim Kelly, Bruce Smith, Thurman Thomas, and they did have the great O.J. Simpson. So they had 4, but now it's just the 3. Number 12, Jim Kelly. Number 78, Bruce Smith. He was a bad man. Defensive end back in the day.
Watching that. It's weird that you brought that. I was just watching a highlight tape of
really?
Bruce Smith the other day.
Bruce was so
How nerdy
Bruce Smith and Reggie White. Those 2 dudes
my God.
were man. And then Derek Brooks coming off the edge for Kansas City Chiefs.
They were some of the best pass rushers ever. I mean, seriously. We talked about Julio Urias the other day, right? About his domestic violence.
We did kind of. We don't like him very much, but the fact that he's coming back also is annoying.
Right?
I think it's an issue.
And you always see, the thing is, like, everyone sort of puts the brunt of this blame for this domestic violence stuff on the NFL, but the MLB didn't seem to do much about it. MLB's not really helping. I guess they just think that he is innocent, I guess. I don't know how that works. Like, because I don't think you should reinstate a guy after something so dramatic.
Well, plus, remember, baseball was taking the big stance, and it doesn't look like it's as big as they came out and talked about it being. You know what I mean by that?
Yeah.
Like, they were like, this is going to be,
Yeah, and they just let him right back. I do. There's things I don't understand, man. And that's one of them. You hit family, you commit an act of domestic violence. I don't think you should be able to. I mean, I wouldn't. If someone at this radio station got caught for that, I don't think they would be back at work so soon. That's what I'm getting at.
If he wasn't Julio Urias,
he wouldn't be back.
If the Dodgers weren't in a heck of a battle over there, I don't think it. No. But the thing that's weird, they say there's a video of the incident. That's like, have you seen the video?
No, is it a Robert Kraft thing where they're holding it?
I don't know how it is, but MLB officials said that they launched their own investigation. According to the LA Times, they found the video. They had their hands on the video.
And he's reinstated.
And they said that the criminal case against Urias is still technically active, but MLB has wrapped up their investigation, they say, and they're letting him back in. So I'm kind of wondering, this is where it's been so hard for me to talk about, because if it's false accusations, and I kind of mentioned a little bit, if you remember when we were talking about, there's always two sides. But if there's a video and there was no intent to injure from him, and he was putting his hands up in self-defense, I brought this up the other day, and last week, there is a certain, we are in a Me Too movement. We have to treat women better. Unequivocally, I have also put that on men, and that, dads need to teach their children how to respect women. I think it's also important for our peers to not sit around and egg it on when you're like being rude to a woman or talking and calling her the B word or things like that. Like, there has to be a change when it comes to how we look at women, how we treat women, and we should just treat them with respect. But I also have to say, there is a frustration and there is a line, and there is a lot of women out there that are crossing. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's also called, yes, you're a woman, act like it, be a lady. And what I'm just trying to say is, just the other day, I'm going to the emergency room. By the way, say a prayer for my friend Sean. He broke his neck. I'm not having a really good day, am I? I park my car. I get out of my car. I hear somebody screaming. A lady comes running up and starts poking me in the chest with her finger and telling me I can't park there. And she says, move the F word, and then A word. And I'm like, excuse me? I said, ma'am, I will move, but you need to learn how to talk to people a little bit kinder. And you know what she told me? Go F myself. I'm like, you are a classy woman. And I said, you know what? I said, what's so sad?
She was employed by that.
Yep. And I said, why is it? Yeah, she was working at the parking garage at the Med. She should be fired. Yeah, it was Saturday, so if you're out there, fire. But I'm like, you know what, ma'am? You need to learn how to, like I said, though, I did say this. I go, you're lucky that I'm a gentleman. I said, because you're stepping into a man's world. And she's like, excuse me? I said, when you get that close to my face and you start poking me in my chest, there's not a lot of men who are going to put up with that. I said, and I feel bad. I said, you're lucky tonight. I said, if I were you, I'd quit doing that. I said, don't ever poke anybody in the chest.
It's disrespectful.
It's blatantly disrespectful. And like, that's what I'm talking about. Is like you show people class, but it is on both sides. And that's what I'm trying to say is, like, I think about the Dave Chappelle joke back in the day. Well, where he used to do the thing about, well, you're dressed like a, you know what I'm talking about?
I know exactly.
It's confusing. And he goes, you know how confusing it is? Like, if you got your booty hanging out your shorts, you got your hoo-hoos hanging out your shirt, and you basically look like a working girl, don't be surprised if a guy comes and hits on you. And you get so offended, like, why are you talking to me? Well, you're advertising that you want to be talked to. At least that's what most men would think if you're dressed like that. And I love how Dave Chappelle put it. If I went out and I was dressed as a cop and people ran up to me and said, "Excuse me, officer, there's a person around the corner. He's stealing my car." Are you assuming because I'm dressed like a police officer that I am a police officer? No, I just like to dress like
That's
this.
a funny skit, man.
That is a funny skit.
I
But
really
what I'm
love
trying
that
to say is I have daughters. I'm all for respect, and I'm all for, women getting, women haven't been treated fairly, I believe. But again, I also have to say it's a two-way street. We also have to remember, ladies,
It's just a human thing.
it's a human being thing. And it's also, don't put your hands on other people.
Yes.
Why is it that people think that they have the right to come and put their hands on you in a rude way?
No idea.
That drives me
and that
absolutely
story
crazy.
you told me definitely triggers me. That's awful.
Yeah.
But you mentioned something earlier about Big Ben, didn't you?
Yes, I did. Go ahead.
I
Rock
love
this one, 'cause
this
it's a
story.
great
Big
one.
Ben was interviewed. I guess there was a presser at OTAs. That's what I'm assuming. And they asked him about the AB situation.
Yep.
And Big Ben had this to say. He said, "That's the thing about media and social media. As soon as you say sorry, it only goes so far. You can't take it back." He went on to say, "I wish I could take it back, because if that's what ruined our friendship and relationship, I'm truly, genuinely sorry about that." But then AB responded through Twitter, as he normally does, and said, I didn't really say anything. He put two words, two-face, as he was sort of pointing out that Big Ben is two-faced. And there's two ways to sort of look at this. It's you're either on one or the other side, right?
Yep.
Big Ben, he says a lot of harsh things to the media and then comes back and tries to say he's sorry. It's a little too late for that.
Yep.
And then AB, maybe he got offended too easily. There's two ways to look at it. I don't really know which way. I don't have a hot take on this. I just know that this has been blown out of proportion to a certain extent, and it just needs to pass.
Yeah, it is pretty wild when you think about it. And it's not just a little bit wild. It's absolute lunacy. You know what else is absolute lunacy? Kellen Winslow Jr. This dude's dad's a Hall of Famer. Did you see that man when he was playing?
His possible sentence?
Hold on. Did you, by any chance, did you see any of the hearing today?
No.
Oh,
not at all.
Today, right now,
as we're speaking.
As we are speaking, his first day in court has just kind of I think wrapped up. He was Jane Doe, accuser number 1, took the stand. She's a 54-year-old woman.
Is this the most recent one, I'm assuming?
Yeah, dude. This guy, and the fact that there are this dude, this is the most unbelievable, insane story I've ever read. And I'm trying to think to myself, how is it that a guy who had everything, he went to college, had a Hall of Fame dad, had the education, had everything given to him, made it to the highest level. Is there any chance, that CTE, they said Aaron Hernandez, I am serious as a heart attack, because I'm starting to wonder, how can, a person be good for, 20 years of their life, and then all of a sudden they're breaking into 54-year-old women's houses, or they're sitting in parking lots with handkerchiefs and Vaseline in a Walgreens parking lot.
I'm not saying he's been great his whole life. He's had some situations that have gone very south very fast, but I have to think when these things pop up at such a rapid rate, and with what he did with exposing himself to a 50-year-old woman and basically more or less, doing his thing in front of her. But I have to think CTE and getting hit in the head and those anger issues that come with that have to do with it. That's me.
I am not giving a pass, people. I hope first and foremost that I'm not trying to say that this person has a pass.
We're not saying he's innocent.
He's innocent anyway. What I'm trying to say is I am getting to the point where when you see the Kansas City Chiefs player who murdered and then killed himself, and then you see what Aaron Hernandez did, and then you read this Kellen Winslow Jr. thing, is honestly, it's one of the craziest cases I've ever read in my entire life.
And then when you look at the Aaron Hernandez situation, and they came out and said he had the worst recorded case of CTE
See
that they
they've
had
ever seen. Golly.
that makes you think things. And
It does.
this is coming from a college football player. I played a little bit of pro ball. It
and
happens,
you used your
man.
head a lot.
It happens. And I've seen a lot of guys that have not been able to play football again because of concussion syndromes. And
Now,
it happens.
It does happen, and it is insane. And I'm going to ask this, and we're going to answer it on the other side because we have to go to break. But New England Patriots, I think, went very out of character. They signed Julian Edelman to a 2-year contract extension that includes an $8 million signing bonus and $12 million in guaranteed extra money. The extension is good through 2021. That may he's 32. You know what I mean? Like, this is so not Patriot style. I'm wondering, like, is this their last hurrah? Like, Tom's like, is Bill Belichick's like, all right, well, I'm going to make this run with Tom. I got my man Edelman. We're going to get a couple other pieces, and we're going to go out and try to get our, 1 or 2 more Super Bowls, and then we all bouncing, because this is so un-Bill Belichick. This is freaking me out. But whatever y'all do, don't freak out. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back, and I'm on fire. Inside One Pick on the other side. Sports 56, 87.7 FM.
From Penny, the Tiger player.
I think it's just every Hardaway this and every Hardaway that, but we have just more than one player on the team.
Through Penny, the Tiger coach.
Well, I think the main game plan is we can